I'm thrilled to be here for week one for the kickoff with, as I like to call them, the big bosses. We have CEO and founder of the Riveter, Amy Nelson, and head of corporate responsibility for UBS, Jamie Sears.
Project Entrepreneur was started, we designed it in 2014, launched it in 2015, so it's been a few years. But we knew that there are women with the ambition to build high growth companies, that there needed to be an on-ramp across the country for something like this, that some of the tools and resources and access really needed to be more democratized to really fulfill what we saw was definitely the pipeline and the potential. So it's a part of a broader array of things that UBS does really to advance gender equality.
I get chills when I see the women in the Riveter spaces and think that every single one of them is a woman with an idea and the ability to turn their idea into a $1 billion brand. So thank you, Amy, for making space for them.
Well, thanks for Project Entrepreneur and UBS for highlighting our story and all women's stories.
I do want to say to all of the people who are sitting here in this conversation, you are not powerless.
This is not the time to just sort of sit quietly and continue to play by the old rules.
A great company 6 months ago is a great company today, is a great company 6 years from now. And I think the great thing about entrepreneurship is that, those gritty, hustling, data-loving, empathetic founders, they're going to find a way to get to the folks who are going to write them checks.
A lot of women start businesses by themselves. And, it's lonely, it's anxiety ridden, there's highs, there's lows. It's easier, it's a little bit more manageable if you can do it with somebody else.
Even if their perspectives are wildly different than mine, it's such an education process for me. So I love surrounding myself with people. I think that's the toughest part about quarantine is being in your apartment.
Diversity has to start with you. And so make sure you're doing yourself a true service by forming a wolf pack that is rich in perspectives and expertise.
At the level of the individual, it's about choosing your convictions and your values over your comfort and your convenience.
We have an obligation to one another, myself, to you, Anne, and to Chana. We have an obligation to hold each other accountable.
It's really good and hopefully encouraging this time to see VCs say, okay, maybe we should give a sharper look at Black founders, maybe in the C-suites, even in places where I came from, social work, where that was the only time you saw people of color in positions of leadership. The person who actually owns it or founded it is rarely a woman or a person of color.
When their corporate boards are not diverse, when their senior management is not diverse, when they're not providing the necessary benefits to their employees. I could go on, get your house in order.
If we don't have empathy for human beings, we're screwed. And I'm trying to really work with what does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be a woman? And what does it mean to be a white woman in this moment? And how can I show up differently than I have in the past?
And no matter what your industry is, or whether you saw great success through COVID or you've had to close, either side, you really need to look at the brand new landscape we're about to work in.
We're going to get through this, especially this group of driven leaders who have already shown their ability to be creative and scrappy.
I used to have a job in finance. I now have a calling. I have a life. Finance is the tool that I use to empower and democratize money for women.
I don't know who said it, but it's helped me so much. And if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, right? I probably saw it on someone's wall or something. You know how helpful that's been to me? It's so helpful because then it helps me understand this speaking here today with Allie and Anne for the Riveter and UBS, that's a hell yes.